All right, so you used one word when we were briefly chatting here, fixer. And when it comes to expired specifically, you have to be a fixer. So what does that mean to you?
In most of the cases, we're going to see things that are going to come up that are going to need fixing, especially when you're dealing with an expired listing. They already have a relationship with another agent that's probably fractured. They have goals and aspirations, and those are very likely fractured. So you have to uncover that, and then you just keep getting more and more granular, trying to get to the bottom of what some folks' problems are. I love to do that. That's honestly one of the most gratifying things about being in this business is being able to help people out. Like I honestly feel that way.
Remember, people don't sell for fun. They usually have a life changing reason. I'm here to fix their problems. Don't leave them with another weak agent. Do all you have to do to help. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Aaron Wittenstein, and we're here with Vulcan7 Roadmap. This is where we interview agents across the country on how to take 567,356.7 listings a week. And today we have a very special guest, okay? Not only does he have an amazing haircut, all right, nice set of hair on his head, but he's also from where 11 years I spent in White Plains, New York. He's from Long Island, New York. Eric Berman, will you say hello to everybody, please?
What's going on, everybody out there in Vulcan7 Roadmap world? Very happy to be here with my man Aaron. It's not every day you get to just be in the presence of greatness and baldness at the same time. What is this?
I don't know so much about the greatness of the baldness. I'll stick with that, man. All right, so you used one word when we were briefly chatting here that I feel that I am, okay? And what got me, there's one word, and what you said, I'm a fixer, okay? And when it comes to expired specifically, you have to be a fixer. So what does that mean to you?
I mean, so basically, we have all of these scenarios, and in most of the cases, if they're not broken already, we're going to see things that are going to come up that are going to need fixing. And I think that one of the superpowers that's most important in this industry is to be able to have the determination to just go after all of the problems, because you'll see a lot of people that they'll come up with like a band-aid or something like that. But like I think what sets myself and my team apart is that we really, really go deep on any of the issues that come up, especially when you're dealing with an expired listing. They already have a relationship with another agent that's probably fractured, so you can start there. They have goals and aspirations, and those are very likely fractured. So you have to uncover that, and then you just keep getting more and more granular, trying to get to the bottom of what some folks' problems are. And I love to do that. That's honestly my one of the most gratifying things about being in this business is being able to help people out. Like I honestly feel that way.
Like I said, I feel the same way. It's like coming in and just fixing the problem. Okay. Because what happens is I wrote this down as I'm looking at the wall, and I think you'll agree with me on this. I don't have this memorized yet. Remember, people don't sell for fun. They usually have a life changing reason. I'm here to fix their problems. Don't leave them with another weak agent. Do all you have to do to help.
I would definitely agree with that.
So give me. Everybody's got a story. You got a good story you could share with us?
Specifically, what about? I have all
Just
sorts of
like no, no, like an expired, like an expired story where it was yada 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 yada, and you came into this because when you're doing this much business and you're fixing things. Like, is there one in particular, one listing that comes to mind when I mention that?
I had one recently. It was a pretty challenging listing. It had been on the market previously, and obviously the other agent hadn't been able to sell. I don't think that they were doing a particularly great job. Didn't sound like there was much marketing going on, but the seller just was really didn't want to sign with anybody. They were talking about renting it out, and we this was actually the entire thing was negotiated over the phone because she was out in Vegas,
Mm.
and she was just like, I'm going to have a property manager come in, and we just kind of troubleshot the whole thing through Zoom and went over what the strategy was. And while we had it listed, it was there were a lot of challenges that came up, especially given the distance between myself and the seller. And you know, we had to make sure that our communication was like super on point because there were a bunch of moving pieces. I can't say all the details, but it got a little funky for a little while, and the seller went dark, and somehow we still managed to pull that one together and close above the original asking price. So we got her higher than her initial price that she had previously expired at.
So I think one word that we pull out of that, at least that I pulled out of that, was the word communication. Okay. And where there's a big lapse in, let's say, is just a lack of communication. What does your communication systems and processes look like? With any person that you work with in your clientele.
I mean, outside of just keeping everything tracked and organized in the CRM, um, I just try to keep a list and keep actively looking at who's pending, who's active, who's still on the market, like, and try to make sure that there's at least at minimum weekly touches, whether there's news, whether there's no good news, because you hear it all the time that people take a listing and then they don't hear anything from their agent, and that's as an industry we have to do better than that, right?
Hmm.
Because sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you have the deal that like it's been 2 weeks and they just want an answer, and you don't have an answer to give, and you can only control what you can control, right? Especially in New York, we're an attorney state, so there's a lot of times where there's a lack of communication because the attorneys, they will only communicate through email, and something that could have just been a 4 minute phone conversation drags out over the course of 4 days. So sometimes it takes the agent to kind of bridge that gap and make sure that everybody's talking. And even if there's absolutely no update to give the seller, hey, really sorry to tell you this, we still don't have an update. Because I think people kind of shy away from that because they don't like delivering bad news. But one of the most uncomfortable things for anybody, let alone buyers, sellers, agents, is uncertainty, right? So if we're not eliminating uncertainty throughout a transaction, are we really doing the best job that we can?
I like eliminating uncertainty. I think that's a pretty strong statement that you said right there. And I think it's not even bad. Like bad, I'd rather, sometimes it's like you have the bad news, you got the bad news, but it's kind of sitting there with nothing. And they're like, and I think, like you hit a nail on the head like that. You're staying in touch with your clients on a weekly basis, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is leave somebody to sit there and just imagine what doesn't exist. Because we're humans, we will just like sit all day and like, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, and your brain will just come up and conjure all of these crazy ideas. And if you're allowing that to happen to your client, how long before those crazy thoughts start being about what you're doing or what you're not doing or what you did wrong? Like, let's make sure that we really understand what's going on here and allow them to see the picture as we see it, because things just get a little funky when you don't.
I agree. They ruminate. That's the word we're looking for right there, right? The word,
Yeah,
the word of the day is ruminate. Everybody, okay? All right. So, fellow New Yorker to New Yorker here, okay? Um, I would love to do an expired role play if you would be game for that.
sure.
He's like, "Yeah, whatever. I got this stuff.
I mean, it's 11:59 our time. I just finished making calls about an hour ago, so still, like, we had our team role play. I feel like I'm still a little warmed up.
All right, let's rock and roll here. All right. So, give me a call. Ring me.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this the owner of 123 Main Street?
You're like the 35th realtor to call me. What do you want?
I might be the 35th, but I assure you, I'm also the most bald realtor that called you. So I'm giving you a call, as you probably already know. Your home was on the market. Looks like it just came off.
Hmm.
I just wanted to know, you still thinking about putting it back on the market at some point, if it makes sense?
We're gonna sit tight for a while. I appreciate the phone call. We're just done. We're done.
Hey, look, totally get it. If I had been on the market for 6 months, I would certainly be over it too. And if you needed some space, who would blame you for that? It's rough. It's rough having the house ready for showings. Am I right?
Hmm.
Doing it for all that time. But let me ask you, Aaron, in a perfect world, if you had sold the house yesterday, where were you guys moving off to?
We were going to stay local. We were going to move to the Queens.
Oh, nice. So you're moving to Queens, and just logistically speaking, did you guys already have a house that you were planning on moving to there, or is that something?
We're gonna be renting at this point. We just want to get out, rent, and then we're gonna be moving to Nebraska after like a year.
Okay, so you're gonna rent in Queens and then move on out to Nebraska. Um, what's taking you out to Nebraska?
We really like corn.
Corn. I've heard of it before. I'm not sure if I've ever tried it, but so let me ask you a question. Yeah, you had the house on the market for 6 months. Did your agent give you any feedback during your weekly recaps as to why it didn't sell?
No, it was actually my cousin's brother's uncle's car mechanic that listed the property for us.
Mm.
And once we listed the house, put it up on the market, we really didn't hear from them a lot. But yeah, we never heard from them.
Yeah, I mean that's super frustrating. You definitely deserve better than that. And look, I know you guys are fatigued right now, but if I were able to show you how we could market this property and get it sold in 30 days, show you how to get to the rental in Queens, and then show you how we could seamlessly make that transition from Queens to Nebraska, get you in the cornfields of your dream, would it be crazy for us to sit down for 15 minutes and discuss a plan for how we could get you back on track?
We had it up. How would you actually sell the property? We had it up for what, 6 months. So what would you do differently?
That's exactly what we're going to talk about when we sit down to meet. So I have another appointment um, tomorrow at 4 o'clock right near you. Would you guys be available for 4 o'clock, or would today at 2:30 be better?
Here's the thing: is we may wind up, when we sell it, okay? Because I'm not promising we're going to do anything right now. We may have another friend in the business, and they were going to cut us a deal, on what you charge. I don't know. I'd really have to think about it.
Yeah, and that makes total sense. Everybody's got a friend in the business. I always tell people, like, if you don't have at least a few realtor friends, you might be a loser. And I'm not sure that that's the rep that you want out here. But so look, let's do this. I'm going to pencil you guys in for tomorrow at 4. Like I said, I'm going to be in the area anyway, and at least hear what I have to say. And if it's not night and day different from what your other realtor friend who's a mechanic or whatever that scenario was, take this info. You could take this information. You could go ahead and work with them. But I feel very confident that once you see this, you're definitely going to understand that you're making the right choice with me. So, like I said, penciling you in for tomorrow at 4. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. And what's the best email for you?
Eric.Berman did a really nice job.com at .com.
Oh, it's unbelievable. That's actually pretty similar to my name. I don't know how you got that email, but I applaud you. So I'm going to shoot you over a calendar invite as well as my resume, and I'll see you tomorrow at 4.
Sounds like a plan. See you then. Thank you.
All right, sweet.
I beat you up a little bit. I hope that's okay. You did a nice job. You did a nice job.
It's all right. It's all right. I tried to stay in the pocket with the
You know,
cornfields.
it's the Cornhuskers is the first state that popped in my mind for some odd reason. Don't ask me why Nebraska was the first state that popped in my mind. Um,
Yeah.
the one thing that it's always a sign of someone who's been doing this for a long time is when what are you going to do differently? That's the exact reason we need to get together to sit down and have a conversation. I'll be in your neighborhood tomorrow at 3. Would you be offended if I stopped by to take a quick peek? Something to that extent, in effect. So yeah, you did a really, really nice job. How did that feel?
Thank you. It felt all right. Yeah, I've done better. I've done worse.
It never feels as good as you think it's going to. It never, and
Yeah.
it never, it's like, cause but no, like I said, from doing it myself, you did a very, very nice job on that. So appreciate
I
it.
I, I liked the 2 point moving plan
Yeah.
though. That's one I don't get all the time. That we're going to rent here and then we're going to move to Nebraska. So that was good. I haven't heard something like that in a while.
Got to throw all the new stuff. So you role play with your team on a daily basis?
A few times a week
Yeah.
as a team. I've made them all get their own role play partners, as I have my own role play partners for both expires and for recruiting as well, which is probably underrated. Like doing role play for that, um, but it's good. I feel like what can't you role play? You know,
I agree. How many times a week are you doing 5 days a week right now?
um, personally I'm doing three.
Okay.
I have my expired role play partner, my recruiting role play partner, and then the team role play.
Got it.
And then yeah, just making the calls.
Oh, it's always the
So we, as a team, we role play a little bit more than that sometimes, depending on what's going on. Like we've been role playing the NAR settlement
mm,
a lot about what we're going to be talking to sellers on at the listing appointment, just because with all of this going on, I think we would be doing everybody a disservice if we weren't practicing what we were going to say around that. Because I don't want to make this a subject about that, but like
yeah,
if you're going on these appointments, whether it's expired, not expired, if you're not bringing up the settlement, I think you're making a mistake, because you don't want to walk out of there and have them, you sign a list and then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, my friend just told me that I don't have to pay a commission anymore.
right.
You know, knowledge is power, and
I
you want
agree.
to
No,
you want to empower people.
and it's knowing everything enough about everything that's just enough, right? So I mean, because it's enough not to make yourself. That's not what I'm trying to. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's knowing what is and keeping yourself current is the best way to put it. Because otherwise, you're not doing yourself or your clients a you're not you're doing everybody a service is the best way to put it. So
Yeah.
so how long have you been calling expires for?
I have been calling expireds for 4 years.
Mm, Um,
I think, yeah, four, probably four.
I'd like to say how do you like it, but you seem to be liking it pretty good. So
This is gonna sound bad. I really do enjoy it, and it's funny because I used to be in an office where I was the only person there all day, and I used to call 4 hours a day, and I would just sit and watch South Park with my feet up and just bang out the calls. It's great having the team around now because we can, bounce off each other's energy. But I do legitimately enjoy it. It always reminds me of being a kid and making prank phone
ah,
calls. Like I always say this because it's you get into character and you can't break character, no matter how crazy. Because we're in New York, so sometimes the people that we're calling there, some of these people that they'll let you have it. But I think what's really important, especially like for the sake of the call as well, is for role modeling it to the team, is that we stay in the pocket. It doesn't matter like how wild the conversation can get, as long as we are in the pocket, we're the one that's guiding the conversation. And there's been times where you see somebody, they hang up on you, they're going crazy, and you're able to reel it back in just by staying in character. Not saying that I'm being fake, but there is Eric that you see at a party, and there's Eric that you see making a cold call to somebody who's gone through a really bad experience and possibly hired the wrong agent or had the wrong strategy. And, you just stay there and help guide them to the promised land.
so all right. So how do you? Because I mean, I think there's a lot of people that they said they're doing it themselves. You know what I mean? And I think it's tough whenever you sit here and do this, and it's not easy every day is the best way to put it. So what do you do to keep yourself like empty, if you know what I mean? Like what do you do to keep yourself
So,
excited? Is the word I'm looking for.
so in all honesty, like I wake up excited every day. Like it sounds so cliche, but sometimes I'm just like I wish I could sleep more, but I'm not going to. But I love this. I before real estate, my life was kind of like crazy, and the fact that I have these opportunities in front of me every day, it's motivation in itself. However, in addition to like I'm one of those people with like the miracle morning. Like I wake up, I go to the gym, I eat breakfast, I meditate, say my affirmations, I read, I write in my journal. So the journal I think is one of the big things. Whenever things are tough, I look back at old entries and I'm like, oh my god, that's what I was worried about back then. Like today's going to be a blast. But in addition to all of that stuff, I actually have an accountability call that I've been on for, I think it's been 2.5 years of us 5 days a week, usually. That there's three of us on the call, and we literally, it was people from coaching, or some of them aren't even in coaching anymore, but we still just keep doing this. And it's one of those things we're on Zoom from 9 to 11, and we make our calls. I'm usually off camera, and then at the end of the hour, we reconvene. We talk about how our calls went, and it's so helpful because there's we're all human, right? Like we all want to say, "Oh, all I do is work and all I do is this," but there's temptations. You want to sleep in sometimes. You're just not feeling it. But with this call, I just know how much smack they're going to talk if I'm ever not on, and I'm the one who runs it. So like I have no choice. My team comes into the office to make calls. I have no choice. There's so much accountability. I have no option. I just have to be here, and I wouldn't have it any other way because I like talking smack back too. If they ever miss any time, if somebody goes to get coffee in the office for too long, they're going to hear about it. As I want them to, we respond well to smack talk over here. It's something that we like. So that a short answer long. That's my answer.
That's perfect. No, that's perfect, man. Because it's just because you just telling you when you just exude like you're just you're a happy person. You know what I mean? Like you can just
Yeah.
tell
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and I think that's appreciated, especially in this world that we're in right now. And all right, so let me ask you this then. So you have your entire morning, that you commit to. Number one, what time do you typically wake up? This is me being curious myself.
So either 4:45 or 5 in the morning.
Okay, 4:45, 5 in the morning. Out of your entire routine that you have in the morning, it sounds like you have what's the most important part of that routine?
I mean, breakfast is probably pretty important. The rest of the day would be hard without that. But I don't know that. I guess reading,
Hmm,
but like I wouldn't want like if I had to give up one of them. Like I feel like the affirmations, it's one of those things that just gets programmed into your mind, and it's like it's not always something that comes up. But then like certain things, like one of them is I always spend time with loved ones because I remember when things first started getting busy in my life. I felt like this cool guy, and I was like, "Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I have appointments. I'm not going to be able to do." So, like, reminding myself because this could all end tomorrow, and like, if you didn't spend time with your loved ones, so like, I don't know if like the affirmations are so important. Writing in the journal, like, it's I think it's so underrated, and I hate writing. Like, I'm not a good writer. I just write bullet points of what happened. Reading an actual book, I can't put any of these things above the other. The
that's
exercise,
good. That's a
the
good.
reading.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a sum of all the parts, and I think that's extremely important. And it sounds like I said, it sounds like it's all working well for you. You know what I mean? Is the best way to put it. And I can just tell that like if you pulled anything out of it, that it's just not going to work. And it's very nice to see that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like even if I did everything poorly and I did half of what I was supposed to do, it's one of those things like mindset wise where it's you want to do your best. Like I always try my best. That's the last of my affirmations. I always try my best. So like just the fact, and it sounds cliche, but like whatever, maybe it is. Just the fact that I woke up and did those things, even if I did them like on a 1 out of 10 level, at least I got up and I did it.
Did it.
At least I feel good that by 7 o'clock in the morning, I've accomplished more than a large percentage of people on this planet would accomplish with their day, like the entirety of their day. So like it makes me feel good, and like whether it's I don't know, it's something that makes me feel like I'm I'm in the game and I'm trying.
Beautiful. All right, man. A brand new agent comes and knocks on your door and says, Eric, I need one piece of advice. What's that piece of advice?
I would go with the journal. It's something I was actually going to make a video. I do a lot of Instagram content. Eric Berman _RE on Instagram. If people want to check it out, we actually just started a team account. I had an intern that was taking care of that for us too. So that's just the Eric Berman team. And we're doing a lot of content. Actually, one video I was going to shoot probably today is about journaling because it's one of those things that like I wish I had started doing it so much earlier, and it's not like the piece of advice of like make 1,000 calls every day. Like it's something so much more simplistic that like helps me through the hard times because no matter how good you're doing, like you're gonna go through hot streaks, you're gonna go through cold streaks, and those cold streaks can be really brutal in this business. We've all like no matter you go on social media and everybody's just crushing it all the time. Everybody's so good, everybody's so great, but we go through hard times as entrepreneurs and we go through really scary times, like scary financial times. And for me, whenever I'm in those really hard times, like going back into my journal and going back a year, 2 years is so helpful to look at what I was worried about then. Look at the deal that was falling apart that, oh, it ended up working out. There's so far, like, I never see anything like, oh, that was worth worrying about. Like, never. So, one of my biggest wishes is that I had started doing it sooner because I think I've only been doing the journal for maybe 3 years. Like, I wish that before I was in real estate, when I went through some really, really difficult times, I wish I had that documented because that's the thing that like fuels me, and like I don't ever want to lose those really really hard times I was in. I'm gonna forget the details at one point, and that to me was like one of like the most empowering and special things that I had was being able to feed off of all that pain and use that as kindle in my fire. So I would definitely say, new agent, keep a journal, just write down bullet points of what happened in your day. You don't have to do it every single day, but you're going to be glad you did it.
Okay, let's tie this up in a bow here, my friend. What are your last words for Vulcan 7 Nation here?
Make your calls. Make your calls. I just got 3 crazy listings in the last 2 months from calling expireds and from circle dialing using Vulcan. So, and to be honest with you, I call expireds a lot. The circle dialing, I'm not doing as much as I should, but like it was like a $3.1 million listing and a $1.3 million knockdown from these and the other one was just a normal house, but from like the circle down. So like just make the calls. You've got all these tools at your hands, in your hands. Just make your
Make the
calls
calls. Make the
and write in your
calls.
journal maybe.
There we go, baby. All right. So, Eric, someone's moving to Long Island from Nebraska
Nebraska.
by way of Queens. Okay. How does one get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can always call me 917-225-8596. And other than that, I would say Eric Berman _RE on Instagram. I'm on literally every social platform with the same handle, but Instagram is where I live.
Beautiful. All right, my friend. I want to say thank you so much for being here. And do me a favor. Don't forget to trust the process. All right. All right, guys. Everyone, take care. We will see you next time around. Take care. Bye.